Yes, good morning. Today we are going to see demand, but this time we are going to see factors affecting demand other than price. In our previous lesson, we have seen when there is a movement along a demand curve. There is a movement along a demand curve only when price changes, that is, price rises or falls. So when price falls, people will buy more, and when price rises, people will buy less. But if price remain constant, we are assuming that the price of the product remain constant. Is it possible for people to buy more goods and services? Price is constant. Yes. So, for example, if there is a change in income of consumers is rising, price of goods and services are the same on the market, the price has not changed. So people will buy more because there has been an increase in income. So factors affecting demand other than price. We have many factors affecting demand other than price. The first one, change in the price of a substitute product. Substitutes are goods which can be replaced by one another. A change in the price of a substitute product will automatically affect the demand for the other substitutes. For example, tea and coffee are substitutes. A change in the price of tea will have an impact on the demand for coffee. For example, if the price of tea rises, tea will become expensive. Some consumers buying tea, they will shift to buy coffee. The demand for coffee will increase. The price of coffee is the same, but the demand is increasing because of a rise in the price of tea, substitutes for coffee. So, in general, when price of a product remain constant and we see that demand is changing, so in this case, there will be no movement along the demand curve because price is constant. We will have a movement along a demand curve when price changes, but this time price remain constant. So in this case, there will be a shift in the demand curve. That is, the demand curve will shift from one demand curve to a completely new curve. So these factors will cause shift in the demand curve. The second factor, change in income. When income changes, that is when income increases or decreases, demand will be affected. For example, when income of consumers rises, consumers will have more money to spend on goods and services. Therefore, the demand for goods and services will increase. Such an increase in demand for goods and services due to an increase in income will cause a shift in the demand curve to the right. Conversely, when income falls, consumers will buy less, therefore demand will decrease, and such a decrease in demand will cause a shift in the demand curve to the left. A change in the price, a change in taste and fashion. If there is a favorable change in taste and fashion, demand will increase. That is, people will buy more goods and services. So a favorable change in taste and fashion will increase demand. The demand curve will shift to the right. An unfavorable change in taste and fashion will decrease demand, and therefore the demand curve will shift to the left. A change in population. When population of a country increases, the demand for goods and services will increase, and such an increase in demand will shift the demand curve to the right. When the population of a country decreases, less goods and services will be demanded, therefore demand will decrease, and such a decrease in demand due to a decrease in population will cause a shift in the demand curve to the left. An expectation of a future change in price. If consumers expect the price of a particular product to rise next week, consumers will buy more now. The demand for goods and services will increase despite the price is the same, because people are expecting that the price of a particular product will increase next week. For example, if consumers expect the price of petrol to rise next week, they will buy more now. They will fill their car tank more now because they expect the price of the product will increase next week. The price of petrol is still the same for the time being, then demand is increasing because they expect the price of the product to rise next week. If you know the price of a product, if you expect the price of a product to fall next week, you will buy less now, demand will decrease, and such a decrease in demand will cause a shift in the demand curve to the left. A favorable advertising campaign will persuade consumers to buy more goods and services, and therefore demand will increase. Such an increase in demand will shift the demand curve to the right. An unsuccessful advertising campaign will discourage consumers to buy more goods and services, and therefore demand will decrease. The demand curve will shift to the left. Now let us see, when price remain constant and demand is changing, this will cause a shift in the demand curve from one curve to a completely new curve. We are assuming that price remain constant. These factors are also known as condition of demand. Price, a change in the price of a substitute product, a change in income, a change in population, a change in taste and fashion, and a change in advertising campaign, an expectation of a future change in price. So there are some factors which will shift the demand curve to the left, and there are some factors which will shift the demand curve to the right. So students have to be very careful concerning the condition of demand. They will have to use their logic properly to see which factor will increase demand or which factor will decrease demand. If demand is increasing and price is remaining constant, this will cause a shift in the demand curve to the right. And if demand is decreasing, price is constant, this will cause a shift in the demand curve to the left. Now let us see in diagram how the demand curve will shift to the right, or how the demand curve will shift to the left, and the factors which will cause the demand curve to shift to the right or to the left. So here we are. Factors causing shift in demand curve to the right: an increase in the price of a substitute goods. If the price of tea rises, tea will become expensive, consumers will buy less tea, some consumers will shift to buy coffee, the demand for coffee will increase even though the price of coffee is still the same. The demand is increasing because of an increase in the price of a substitute product. An increase in income. When income rises, people get more money to spend on goods and services. The demand for goods and services will increase, and the demand curve will shift to the right. An increase in population. When the population of a country increases, there will be more mouths to feed. The demand for goods and services will increase, and this will shift the demand curve to the right. An expectation of a future rise in price. If consumers know that the price of a particular product will increase next week, they will buy more now. For example, a smoker, if he knows that the price of cigarette will increase next week, he will buy more now because the price is still the same. Demand will increase, and such an increase in demand will shift the demand curve to the right. A favorable advertising campaign A successful advertising campaign will increase demand because consumers will be persuaded to buy more goods and services. For example, a good marketing strategy will increase demand, and therefore demand will shift to the right. A favorable change in taste and fashion. If there is a favorable change in taste and fashion, this also will increase demand and the demand curve will shift to the right. Now, let's see the diagram. Shift in demand curve to the right. This is the original demand curve, DD, original demand curve, and price is OP. So, when demand increases, demand shift to the right from DD to D1, D1, price is still the same, quantity increases from OQ to OQ1. Now, factors causing a shift in the demand curve to the left. It will be the opposite of factors causing a shift in the demand curve to the right. A fall in the price of substitute product. A decrease in income, people will buy less, demand will decrease. Such a decrease in demand will shift the demand curve to the left. A decrease in population. The inhabitants of a country decreases, so less goods and services will be demanded, demand will decrease, and such a decrease in demand will shift the demand curve to the left. An expectation of a future fall in price. If you know that the price of a product will fall next week, what you will do? You will buy more now? No. You will buy less, demand will decrease, and the demand curve will shift to the left. And unfavorable change in taste and fashion. This will decrease demand. An unfavorable advertising campaign, this also will decrease demand. For example, if government is launching an advertising campaign against smokers, okay, if you smoke, you will get health problem, so you will buy less, the demand will decrease, and the demand curve will shift to the left. So here we have in the diagram shift in demand curve to the left. The original demand is DD. Demand shift to the left from DD to D1, D1. Price remain the same. Quantity demanded decreases from OQ to OQ1. So this one shift in demand curve to the left and shift in demand curve to the right. Normally when we say shift in demand curve to the right, we say increase in demand, and this one decrease in demand. Decrease in demand. So we are assuming that the price of the product remains the same, but demand is increasing due to other factors affecting demand, what we call condition of demand. So we are going to make a recapitulation. Factors that will shift the demand curve to the right: an increase in income, a favorable change in taste and fashion, a rise in the price of a substitute product, an expectation of a future rise in the price of a product, an increase in population. Factors which will shift the demand curve to the left: decrease in income, decrease in population, unfavorable change in taste and fashion, an unfavorable advertising campaign, an expectation of a future fall in price. So here we are concerning factors affecting demand other than price. In the next lesson, we are going to see price elasticity of demand. Until then, goodbye. Thank you.